Welcome to Walking with Chris and Vanessa. All right. The diamond from yesterday was so good that we needed a part two. Why? Because sometimes when you go through different situations and you mine for a diamond, you only mine the diamond, and that diamond is only dealing with the fruit of the issue. Well, yesterday, as we were digging into the diamond and we were talking about what happened, there was a root that was not discussed yesterday. And discussing that diamond, that's the beautiful part, man, about being able to make diamonds and going back and reflecting on them, because you'll start to see where the root of that diamond is. So you can start getting to the root instead of just dealing with fruit, because fruit comes from a root, and the root, if it's still allowed to remain alive, then it will continually show up because the root has not been dealt with. Vanessa said that she was looking at the diamond, went into her journals and started to reflect, and she saw the root of the diamond that we discussed yesterday. So it wasn't just about me stinking.
Even though that's funny, correct. It wasn't about him stinking. It was about why he wasn't coming to bed at 10 p.m. as the diamond suggested. And how did that make me feel? And so this is where intentional journaling is so necessary. It's for you to dig deeper, lean into how you're feeling about a situation, because his behavior isn't for me to solve but I am supposed to address how it makes me feel. And what I realized is that I was feeling abandoned and lonely. And where did those feelings come from? Childhood. My parents, they both worked. My sisters, they're older than me, so I'm the youngest. But I was alone a lot because I was raised in a sheltered environment for my protection. So I learned how to survive and be alone and be okay with being alone. But now that I'm married and everything is okay, why is it that when my husband doesn't sleep in the bed, I feel abandoned? Why is it when my husband doesn't sleep in the bed, I feel lonely? And as I began to search those feelings and lean into it, it's a specialness that I want to feel. There's a connection that I want to feel. Also another issue in my childhood is financial insecurity. So I didn't get to stay in one place. I moved from place to place. So I didn't have relationships. I don't have childhood friendships or lifelong friendships. I have seasonal friendships. And so what I expected in my marriage, a need that I have in my marriage, is time and attention. And again, with ministry, taking your time, you wanting to work in excellence, which comes out as workaholism, the only time I really have with you is in the bed, and you're not sleeping in the bed either. So when I was seeing that, the bed, not him not sleeping in the bed, was planting the seed of divorce for me, because I'm saying, well, I'm alone all day and I'm alone all night. I'm alone. Like, why are we married? And that was the red flag alert. That was the seed that's like, oh, that was just planted. It was small, just like, I don't know the childhood tale of the pea in the bed or the mattress or whatever. You know, there's a pea under it, and no matter how many mattresses you put on top of it, she could still feel the pea. Or the husband who the wife makes the same dinner all the time, and he just accepts this and accepts it. And then one day he just goes off because you're not addressing what you really need. So that was me digging deeper.
This is so key, Vanessa, and I'm so glad that you were able to mine for that and go a little bit deeper, because We all go through different things. And I've said this myself, like, it don't take all that. And you hate when I say that. When there's an issue and I see that you're either giving the type of energy that I'm like, yo, this does not warrant that type of energy that you giving towards this. As a matter of fact, I don't even want to deal with it like this right now. I really don't want us to go through this. I don't got the energy for this. I'm out or whatever. But that is not the issue. That's the surface of why the different types of reactions are happening. And it's not about that surface issue. It's really about what's happening beneath the soil, beneath the ground. And what actually is happening in childhood, what is actually happening in upbringing, what's happening in your ancestral pattern, or whatever you bring to the table with what you saw with your parents and all these different experiences with friends and things that you are bringing to the relationship that once unearthed, they can come across as overreacting. But you're really not overreacting. You're just having a memory of a pain that you've experienced that you do not want to experience no more. So your inner child is trying to protect you. And that's now I understand that. But before I was like, yo, you don't take all that. Because I was just looking at the surface. So if you find yourself there, you guys, if you find yourself there where you're saying, man, it don't take all that, I want you to pray. This is kingdom key number 1. Pray and ask God to show you the root, because there's more to it. As the Transformers would say back in the day, there's more to it than meets the eye. There's something that's beneath the surface, something that is the root of why this is a real issue. And we need to be loving and understanding, as 1 Peter 3:7 talks about, and 1 Corinthians 13 talks about, be loving and have love and patience and kindness. Is that right? Walking in the spirit as well. As Galatians talks about, walking in that spirit, the spirit of God, the only one, the true living God, right? So that we can see the root and not just get distracted by the fruit, because it did take all that, because that's what your spouse is really dealing with. And guess what? The enemy can have a heyday with that. And that's number 2. When you find yourself overreacting, this is for the person who may be overreacting. When you find yourself overreacting to something, I want you to be very, very aware of what is being said to you in your spirit in those moments. Because that time, those are the whispers of the enemy, the lies of the enemy trying to destroy all that God has in the covenant that he has you in right now. And for your family and for your children. He's coming for your children's future. He's coming for the covenant in your marriage, what you stood before God and before your family. And if you got married in church, wherever you were, you stood before God and made that covenant, that promise. He's coming for that promise with those little whispers. When things get out of hand, where you start getting reminded of different traumas that you have not gotten a chance to deal with. And number 3, if it keeps consistently happening, you guys, kingdom key number 3, get some help. Make sure you get some help. As a matter of fact, we are not above getting help. We're actually going to be going and get some help the next couple of weeks. Why? Because it's important to make sure you have wise counsel around you. It's important that you don't just try to do this thing alone, but you have a team around you of those who can coach you, those who can mentor you. You need to have spiritual advisors, those who can give you spiritual guidance and wisdom so that you guys can make it through. You hear me? Think of if just the Israelites, when they went into the promised land, if none of the tribes helped one another, they wouldn't have the promised land, period. They wouldn't have captured the promised land because all the tribes were needed. Even though that wasn't their particular land that they were fighting for, all the tribes were needed. So guess what? It's just like that. Make sure that you have your tribe of marriage safety, the tribe in your community of marriage success. Because if you don't have a tribe, if you don't have your village, it's going to be real hard to succeed in marriage. It's going to be real hard to make it through some of those tougher root issues if you don't have a tribe around you that is rooting for you and that's pouring into you and that can help you to get through some of those deeper, darker issues.
So now that we both have dug deeper into this diamond and we realize it was a thick diamond, what is your suggestions, Chris, for my win now that you have a better understanding of why this is impacting me?
Well, for me, I know I always go to the word. And one of the things that God has called me to do, it says, wash your wife with the water of the word. And the word that I would give you here, Queen, is this: trust in him. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And all your ways acknowledge him and he'll direct your paths. He'll keep you safe from the whisper of the enemy. And he will allow for you to be able to show up and really just say, hey, it's 10, babe. It's time to go to bed. This is what we said we would do. And instead of going to the root of the pain and reacting from the pain, just claim your space, speak as the queen that you are, and know that God is going to honor your voice and it's going to move my heart, because it's a wrap. You speak as the queen, but I'm hearing every word you say. I'm turning TVs off. I'm sitting down. I'm putting things down. I'm running into the room. Why? Because you my queen and I want to love you. And I just may be tired that day. I hadn't thought about it and I didn't know that that impacted you in that way. So that's for you. But for me, though, I need to govern my own actions as well. Because for me, if this is something I said I was going to do, I also need to meet my word, because that's integrity. And to know that this hurts you and to know that this is deep enough to where it starts to uncover some of those painful memories of coming up and being isolated and being lonely and moving and not having a real solid, deep relationships, which you should have here with me, which I want you to experience with me. You hear me? I need to meet my word. Say it's going to be there at 10. Boom. I need to be in there at the time I said it's going to be at. And that allows for us to have integrity. And if we need to make an adjustment to the time, it's okay. But as long as we both agree. So that's what I would say, man. With that, we done dug deep, y'all. And let's listen. The word says we overcome by the word of our testimony and by the blood of the Lamb. And it also says it's the small foxes that spoil the vine. It's not the big things, y'all, all the time. It's the small things that can spoil your covenant because they keep happening or it's never really addressed. So be sure you follow those keys, y'all. Be sure you follow those keys. And if you need to get help, get some help. Make sure your tribe, make sure your village is Trump tight so you guys can have success and you can honor God and you can raise up a godly seed, those who you're going to not be plucked out of the kingdom, but those who are going to be shot out into the world to bring God glory, your children. All right, that's Walking with Chris and Vanessa. Peace.